Welcome back, YouTube. We're in the process of pouring the concrete pad. I've got my shop that we work and build metal and fabricate in. I'm needing some additional room, and I'm needing a place to put my CNC plasma table, my brake press, drill press, and some other little things. Not taking up. We don't have a real big plasma table with a 4x4, but need some extra room in the shop. That way, I got more room in the shop to work. And this addition's been here for ever since the shop's been built, and we've always just had a gravel dirt floor where we just stored stuff in it. And now I'm thinking, well, it's already built, let's just fix a floor, and with this floor fixed, I can go ahead and use it. I can just go ahead and use the building and use it for the shop. It'll be just like more square footage for building and making metal. But I had to dig. I had to dig out. The shop was down kind of below the ground because the shed was built on a hill and it was out of level. The shop is level, but the hillside wasn't for the shed because we was just originally planning on using it for storage. And I'm going to show you that. But the main review about this is the Bauer Mixer. I'm not a concrete professional. This is actually my first big pour. I poured some on a on an air compressor. I poured a pad for one of them, and it's still holding up good. When we first built the shop, I done it by hand. It worked out great. But this is my first major tackling of a concrete job, and I gotta say, concrete guys, you all earn your pay because it's a lot of work. I know it'd be a lot easier to have a truck coming, but I thought I'm gonna just do this by bags, using bags, 80-pound bags, and do it myself, my rebar and stuff. And I've really got to work out. I feel like I've burned a lot of calories doing this project, but I'm gonna show you a little bit more about it right now. This is the pads. You can see the first 4 that I've laid, and I didn't finish them out. I just I troweled it a little bit, but my dog walked through this, and about the time it was drying, and I didn't get to trowel it that good because he'd kind of messed it up. He got excited to see me cutting my grooves in it. But this was my first one back there in the back. Second one. The second one ended up being a little wetter than I like, especially in that corner. I don't know how that's going to turn out. It's around 4.5 inch thick in a lot of places, and then these last 2 pads, which would be where we'd be driving the skid steer in, or the tractor, or heavier things, maybe some side-by-sides or whatever to park in here. I went ahead and we're doing this one at around 4 3/4 to 5 inches. That's where it's a varying. It's got a little bit more rebar in it too than what's more towards the back. But these concrete bags has really got me down as far as taking a lot of energy to do. But we're going to insulate these walls and put panels up and insulate the ceiling. I'm going to try to make it into a good little machining area, more finer work. But the main reason for this video is that thing sitting right there, the Bauer Mixer. The Bauer Mixer has been an excellent mixer thus far. I ain't had any issues out of it. Wasn't that hard to put together either. It holds 2 80-pound bags well. I mean, for 160-pound total. But for the money, I don't think that you can beat it. And it ain't give one hiccup in any way. It's done really well, and I'm going to fixing to pour the last pad with it today, and that's one reason I was wanting to do this video. I meant to get some video beforehand, but kind of got excited about doing this and forgot. And this is kind of how the building lays. So see how the building here is taller and it's shorter back there. It's because of the ground, it was going with the ground, so the back ended up being shorter even on the inside because it was sitting on dirt. So I took dirt out, cut it down, and got it level, and then put gravel back in. This is some of the dirt that I took out with the skid steer, and I've done kind of leveled some of it out. Took out some little gravel and stuff that we had. Here's our next run of concrete that's covered up, 45 bags. That's what we got right here. But if you follow your outer band there along the back, see it's level. Well, up there where the back plastic is, the ground was right up at that, so that's how much I had to dig out in the back, and I was kind of worried about water seeping in under this. So what my plan is to pour a little bit of a retaining wall back there. That's the reason I got the plastic all the way up. That way the moisture still go down in the ground and not get into the building. Hopefully that works. If you guys think it won't, leave me a comment. Give me some advice, because like I said, I'm a DIY, or I'm not a professional concrete guy. But if I figure if I pour me like a little retaining wall around that lower beam up until this one here, I should be fine, and then do the walls and insulation up above it. But we're working on our final pad here. As you can see, we got the rebar down, the gravel, and I've actually done tamped it, so it should be ready. We're going back to this Bauer mixer. The reason it's got concrete in it already and I ain't putting no water in there yet is because, well, I had a bag or two bust and I didn't want to lose it all over the ground, so I just throwed it in there real quick before we got started. You know how these bags are, they tear real easy. But this thing has been a fine machine thus far. But I'm going to get off here and pour some concrete and I'll show you the end result. Alright, we're fixing to do our first pour on this final pad. Right here's our mix and what it's looking like in the Bauer mixer. Maybe just a hair bit on the wet. I'm fixing to add a little bit of dry. But she's a rolling. Don't forget your PPE. Well, we finished up the concrete pad. Looks pretty good. Let me switch this around so you can see. It's all drying up now. I put a little lock for the door in there where you can keep the door latched once we're done. But all 5 pads are now poured. Praise the Lord. 10 foot by 30. Well, Bauer mixer done good. I should have put some video of it working and operating more, but the reason I didn't is because, well, when you got all your clothes dirty and full of concrete and stuff, I just didn't really want to grab my phone, try to record any of this, but we got it cleaned out good for the next run. But all in all, I'm liking how this project turned out. First time pouring concrete. I'm not a professional by any means, but I'm a learning. I like trying to tackle new things. So drop you a comment, a like, a subscribe, and you all have a blessed day. Thanks.